So here we have some fitness testing data. We've looked at how to analyze this previously using Excel. So in this video we're now going to look at it, at analyzing it in SPSS. So the first thing we have to do and what we'll tackle here is the entry of all of these different variables into the SPSS software. So when you open up SPSS, you'll get a screen that looks like this. You'll have data view and variable view. So first of all, we have to enter the variables before we enter the data. So open up variable view. Our screen now looks like so, and we're going to enter our variables going down here. So for example, we might have measured data across different teams. So one variable would be what team you are. Then we would have collected some data, for example, around acceleration, around 10-meter sprints. In SPSS, you cannot start the variable name with a number, so we'd have to start with something like acceleration. If we wanted to, we could put a number in after the letters. We cannot have spaces, so it'd have to be an underscore to separate it out. We could have the 10 meters, and we might have collected 2 trials for purposes of reliability and give the athlete the best possible chance to get a good score. So let's enter that for acceleration, 10 meters, and that will be trial number 2. Okay, so what we now get is some more opportunity to describe the data that we have. So if we start here, we get some options to describe what type of measure we took. So we start from the bottom. The data we've collected might be referred to as nominal, and a good way to remember that is namal. So if our variable relates to the name of something, so we might have data for Tottenham, Arsenal, Chelsea, or we might have called our variable white, red and blue. So that would be the name. So team relates to nominal data. For acceleration, and again working our way up, after nominal and namal, the data might be ordinal or in order. So it would be like ranking the scores that you have. So in a 100-meter sprint, for example, you would have put down who finished first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. What that wouldn't tell you, however, is the magnitude of difference between those places. So you wouldn't know whether the person that finished first finished 1 second, 2 seconds ahead of that, the second place sprinter, or the third place or the fourth place. You'd only know the rank. If you do know the exact times, and you can look at the magnitude of difference between, then you have scaled data. And acceleration is scale data. Let's put scale, and then again scale. Working our way across, another good column to enter some data is this missing column. And here what we're saying is, do you have any missing data? If you do, let's give it a number. So whenever that number comes up, SPSS won't use it as part of its analysis. So a good one to put in there can be 0. So if I click on 0 here, what that's saying is, what that's telling SPSS is every time it sees a 0 to disregard that score. And that can be quite an important one and almost worth doing by default, just because often when you copy data across from Excel, wherever there's a missing value in your Excel file, it can just stick a 0 into SPSS. So when you come to do your averages and your means and all your data analysis, that 0 becomes part of the score that it uses as part of its analysis. So it's not a bad idea to do that by default. The other column that's might be necessary to fill out, and in this case it is where you have the different team names. So we're going to call these, give each team name a number and then label that number with its actual name. So for example, value 1, wherever it sees value 1 for this variable, it's going to say that this is the name of this variable is blue, and I'm going to add that. number 2. The name of team number 2 is green, so I'm going to add that and then press OK. So now I've entered my variables and I've filled in the relevant columns. I'll go into data view and I can now add the data to analyze. So if I go across to what I've got, so here you can see I've got my team, my team that's called blue and my other team is called green. I've already given it a number reference to help my input into SPSS. So I'm just going to copy this data because I've got the acceleration for 10 meters for 2 trials. Copy that, go back into SPSS and press paste. So here the data's already been entered. In the team it's got 1 and 2s, but in this value here I can just click the value label and it converts numbers to names. So now I'm ready to start doing my analysis, and of course I would do that this same process for all the different variables that I have.